Hey guys, welcome to the channel. I'm Dustin, this is Costly Hobby, and today I'm going camping in that 54-year-old truck box camper and that very stuck pile of junk. Let's go.
Well, I guess that's it.
So at the time of filming this, it is the middle of January, a little past even, and where I live, there is absolutely zero snow. It's just dry, dead grass from the prairies to the foothills as far as the eye can see. And as a Canadian, that is an absolute no-go. So I decided to pack a couple bags, grab a camera, and head west to the absolutely breathtaking serenity of the Rocky Mountains. And that is what brings us here, or at least here. I was actually trying to get further that way so I could park right along the riverbed, and then I could do that thing where I open my door, see the river and the mountains, have a coffee in my hand, you know, very aesthetic. But instead, this junk decided to sink itself in on all four corners because of the sheer weight pushing it down. So I guess this is just gonna have to do.
Whatever happens, happens, and it is what it is.
Now, anybody that knows me or watches any of my old content knows that I am first and foremost a hot rodder with a deep-rooted passion for old, classic, rusted-out junk and a terrible addiction to Facebook Marketplace. But you are always allowed to have more than one interest, and another of my passions has always been adventure and exploration, and it's just one of those things that I haven't really had the opportunity to pursue because of a dozen different excuses I've created for myself. Like, I lived in the city, I was focusing on my career, I got married, I have 2 dogs, it's more challenging to get out. And I've been watching different creators for years, living out my dream, going camping on weekends or traveling wherever they wanted to. I honestly thought that I would need like a $50,000 converted school bus or a $100,000 Northern Light 4-season camping trailer so that I could do this myself. So I finally said enough is enough, and I went on Facebook Marketplace, obviously, and I picked up that 1972 Vanguard truck box camper for $500. Then I slapped a cheap Chinese diesel heater in it from Amazon for like $110, threw it in the box of the least reliable junk I own, and drove 300 miles to the mountains so that I could finally just do it. And to be honest, I don't think there's anything quite as hot rod as taking your really cheap junk, driving it out to the middle of nowhere, and praying to whatever God you believe in that it's gonna get you home at the end of the day. On that note, it wouldn't be a Costly Hobby video if I didn't give you a tour, so let's go check out the rig. So starting with the truck, this is a 1991 Ford F250 4-wheel drive powered by a 7.3 liter IDI diesel engine that hates the cold. And when I call it the least reliable junk I own, I absolutely mean it. I swear, every time I drive it, I have to fix it. Case in point, this is the power steering pump belt that blew up on the way in here. Guess how far I am from a parts store? Guess. But whatever, it's just a power steering, so I can strong arm this thing out of here whenever I get unstuck. And for the camper, like I mentioned, this is a 1972 Vanguard truck box camper. I think it's 11.5 feet with the overhang on both ends. The bed is up there, obviously. This is a little bit of a basement, and I'll take you inside here. I've got a nice relaxing hangout spot right here. I've got the bed up there, propane burners, those actually work. I have a sink, but I haven't set up any of the water or anything like that because I don't trust that I'm not gonna freeze the drain tanks. I have a furnace down here which works, but the fan does not. So to heat myself, I've got one of these cheap Chinese diesel heaters. It is mounted outside, and then I've got it plumbed through a hole in the wall, and that is the only vent that keeps me toasty warm in here at night. Up here I've got pots and pans and Red Bulls, and then over here I've got food and snacks and that. Over here, I've got a nice little vanity mirror, so in the morning I can brush my teeth and do my beard and none of my hair. And then over here is the bed zone, and there is zero insulation in any of this, so it gets quite chilly up here, but it is what it is. Then I've got storage, which was the table for that, but one day maybe that'll be something decent. Emergency sleeping bag in case my cheap Chinese diesel heater decides to give up the ghost. And yeah, now we're full circle. That's about it. One thing I did that I'll show you is actually behind the curtains here. I've got these little Velcro shades, and I made those just out of some vinyl fabric and some double-sided Velcro tape stuff that I got from a hardware store. And I did that so that if I have to go stealth camping or if I park on the side of the road or something, I can be in here with all the lights on at night and it is still pitch black outside and perfectly private. And that's really all there is to it. Nothing special, just old stuff letting me do what I want to do, and now I'm here. So without further ado, I guess there's nothing else but to get to the camping. Now, admittedly, I have not filmed anything in quite a while, and I am pretty rusty at it. So everything is taking me just a little bit longer than I planned, and it's getting pretty late in the day already. My sun is going down. I'm gonna lose my light, and I'm getting hungry. So I'm gonna get a fire going real quick, make some food. We'll go from there. I decided to opt for the quick route, if I can open it. And just do a little bit of that. Yeah. I've got these really long things. I've actually never used fire starter before. I'm more of a gasoline kind of guy. And I know with gasoline you don't use that much. But, well, let's give it a shot. How do you? Oh, there we go. Yeah. Oh. That actually worked wonderfully. Awesome. While that fire's getting ready and burning the wood down to coals so that I can actually cook on it, I am gonna get my ingredients ready. So for this video, I decided I'm making ramen. So I went out and I got a Mr. Noodle kit. Just kidding. I'm actually gonna kind of make it from scratch, or like a 3-ingredient recipe I found online. So I went out and got some noodles from the dollar store, except they're more like udon-ish noodles, except really flat. I don't know, they'll work. And then to make the broth, I've got some just chicken broth, low sodium. I'll throw some soy sauce in there just to give it a little bit of that umami that everybody likes. You know, salt, pepper, and garlic powder, because garlic powder is a must in pretty much everything, at least in Canada. And I'll throw some corn in there. I do have some chicken getting cold in the truck because, like I said, I don't use my fridge in here, so that's work with what you got. Let's check it out. So I didn't actually have a pot to make this in that didn't have a plastic handle, and I didn't want it to melt in the fire, obviously. So on the way here, I stopped at a hardware store thinking maybe they would have one, or a little camping pot or something like that, and there was no luck. But what they did have is a bucket. So it's a little aluminum bucket, and I don't see any reason why we can't use this as a pot. So we're just gonna give it a shot. Ow. So to get started, I'm gonna pour about half my liter of chicken broth into the pot. And that's gonna be the base of my broth. Then we'll top that with just a little, oh, it's got a child safety on it. Just a little goosh of soy sauce there. And then I really like garlic pepper, so garlic powder. I don't know where my brain is today. Anyways, throw as much of that in there as you like. And then pepper. We'll throw some of that in. and salt. You don't need as much salt just because the soy sauce is pretty salty in itself, but whatever. I like salty things. We can stir that around. I guess I should have probably grabbed a spoon or something from the truck. I'm sure I'll go do that in a moment. But I'm just gonna get this onto the fire and then it can start doing its thing. We wanna bring it to a bit of a boil and then we can throw the ramen noodles in and the corn in and pretty much just throw everything in, and once it's heated, it's good to go. Now that I'm seeing this on the fire, it looks extremely unstable. And I'm just hoping that our broth cooks fast because we've actually lost about a foot of our platform because we're melting into the snow. Science. Okay, and now that that's doing its thing, we'll throw those in. In fact, I'm gonna do a double noodle portion, I think. Got a glove and a towel so I ideally don't burn myself, but let's just try to shove those further down in there. That's pretty good. Throw some corn in there. We got some pre-cooked chicken. We'll throw that in there as well. 3 or 4 slices ought to do it. Give it a bit of a stir. This bucket's actually working better than I thought it would. Oh, I almost lost that though. Top it off with some more broth. I think we're evaporating quite a bit of it already. All right, that's actually starting to look pretty good. I think I might just call that. What do you think? Yeah, check that out. I would say that's about perfect ramen. And the best part about making it in a bucket is, well, it works as a bowl. So only thing left to do is try it out. I kind of wish I brought chopsticks. Those noodles are cooked perfectly. And nobody is more surprised than me. Oh my God. That one was a little bit hot, but it's so good. I just want to keep going for more. That calls for a chair. So I think I'm gonna finish this off, and then there's not a lot left to do except for let the day go by. So I think I'll do that, relax for a little while, and I'll see you guys in a little bit. All right, guys, it is getting pretty chilly out there, so I think it's time we get the diesel heater running. Just come to my controller, click on, got it all plumbed. This starts blowing freezing cold air, but the glow plugs will start running, and in about, I don't know, 3 minutes from now, that'll be warm, and it'll get warm in here in about 15-20 minutes or so. You can hear the fuel pump ticking away for the diesel heater, and that fan is blowing much warmer air now. So it should be toasty any moment. So I think I'm probably gonna hang out inside for the rest of the night. The diesel heater's roaring, it's getting toasty in here, but I'm still internally chilled. So I think I'm just gonna make myself a cup of instant coffee, warm up a little bit, maybe kick back with a movie or a book or something and see how the rest of the night goes. That off there. And top that with a little bit of cold water so that I can actually drink it sometime in the next hour. I don't care who you are, instant coffee is probably the best coffee. At least while camping. And most other times. So yeah, as exciting as this video has been, there's not a whole lot left for me to do. So I think I'm gonna throw on a movie, call my wife, tire myself out, go to bed. I do have a Starlink Mini set up on the roof because it went on a crazy promotion during Black Friday at Best Buy, so I picked it up super cheap. And then I just signed up for the Roam Lite package, which gives me 100 gigabytes of high-speed internet, which is plenty enough for streaming. Or I also have a PS5 Portal, so technically I could game anywhere I want with that, which is pretty cool. But for now, I've got a fancy slide-out cutting board, which I'm gonna use as a TV stand, and a MacBook, which can run any streaming service I want. And I actually did pick a movie already. I just watched The Da Vinci Code yesterday, so I think I'm gonna keep going with that and watch Angels and Demons tonight because I've been on a bit of a Tom Hanks kick, and that's almost 3 hours long for the extended cut, so I think it'll kill the perfect amount of time this evening.
But nothing intersects the line until it hits St. Peter's.
Michelangelo designed St. Peter's, not Bernini.
Michelangelo designed the Basilica. Bernini designed St. Peter's Square.
All right. No, don't start playing the next one. I actually really dig those movies. Remember when Inferno came out, I was so excited for it. I was like, I'm gonna read all of the books, and then I bought all of the books, and I just never got around to it because they're all like this thick. But really good movies anyways. I highly recommend them. If you haven't seen it, watch it. If you have seen it, go watch it again, because I've probably seen these like 4 or 5 times now, and I don't know, I really enjoy them. It's like puzzles and mystery and solving the, you know, I don't know, I like it. To each their own. I'm gonna crawl myself up to bed, say goodnight. Gotta wake up in the morning and dig myself out a little bit, I guess, because I am stuck. I've had a few people walk by on snowshoes and stuff and be like, hey, you're pretty stuck. Like, yeah, no doubt. Totally unaware. I have a fleece blanket and a weighted blanket up here, which is really nice. Makes it so much more cozy if you've never slept with a weighted blanket. I highly recommend it. Yeah. I take back what I said about the heater. It is really quite toasty up here. I do have the heater on full blast. It's at like 35 degrees right now because there's no insulation anywhere in here. But it's working. I'll just leave it at that. All right. Good night, guys. See you in the morning. Oh, actually, guess I gotta turn off the light. Good night, guys.
Morning, guys. Tell you what, I am about this excited to go there and start digging myself out. I actually had a really good sleep, but I don't want it to end yet. I'm really warm. Like I said, this weighted blanket is just awesome. That heater's still ticking. It's on full. Oh, yeah. Get out there, and I might have to run the generator, my block heater, if it doesn't want to start the truck. Lots to do. Let's go. Oh. Well, it's not exactly the view that I wanted. It'll do. First try. Okay, my hands are absolutely frozen right now. So it is really cold, and that is very hard pack ice. So I just kind of dug out a little ramp behind each tire. Hopefully it'll give me enough to just scooch back on top of it, and maybe the ice will support my weight for a moment. I've only got 4 feet to go, so I think if it holds me just a moment, I should be able to get out of here in 4 high, 4 low, maybe if I have to. Just get those tires spinning and rock back and forth. But now I got to see if this thing will even start, and it is negative 19 degrees Celsius right now, which I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but it's cold. So diesels do not like the cold, especially when they're this old. This thing has a hard time starting on a summer day, but I'm gonna run the manual glow plugs for a minute, and I got some booster packs in case I got to crank that over a little faster, but worst case, ether. We almost had it, but it gets air in the return lines for the injectors, and then it cuts out really quick, especially when it's this cold. So this is just a lithium battery pack that I picked up from Canadian Tire on Boxing Day special, which is the equivalent of like a O'Reilly's or an AutoZone, or really I imagine any auto parts store would carry them. But if you live in a cold environment, I cannot recommend these things enough. It has saved my ass more times than I can count, especially with a diesel. But even if you have a gas job, like a little car or an SUV or whatever you got, these things are awesome. This one's 3000 amp, and that's because I have a giant 7.3 liter diesel, which needs a lot of cranking power to get turning. But if you have a little car or something, like 1000 watt will do you just fine, and it'll get you out of any pickle that you find yourself in if it's freezing cold like this and you're stuck on the side of the road. It is being a little difficult this morning, so I'm just gonna give it a quick shot of ether and, well, fingers crossed anyways. That was actually just a little bit lucky because I cranked it so many times. If you look right there, I'm not sure how well it'll show up, but there's a little red mark that says I overheated the battery pack and it wouldn't crank it anymore. So right to the wire as usual. Told you it's unreliable. All right, sometimes you just get lucky. I threw it in 4 high and I just kept rocking back and forth and spinning the tires, and I think it just dug itself right down to the riverbed. So I was able to grab some traction, and you saw it just rocketed me right out of there.
Team Rocket, blast off at the speed of light.
All right, guys, I got a 3-hour drive home, so I'm gonna get out of here. But before I go, I wanted to say a huge thank you to everybody that watched this video. I'm a really small creator, if you can even call me a creator. I honestly just like to get out with my camera once in a while for funsies and throw it on my YouTube channel and see what comes of it. So when I see even 10 or 15 people that watch my videos, I think that is so cool that I am worthy of your time. And if you did enjoy this video, please do me a favor and give it a like, maybe subscribe to the channel if you want to see more. Comment below what you think. I'm always open to feedback and where I can grow. And if you didn't like it, then maybe share it to somebody who you think will. And if camping style content is what you like to watch, just know that this was my first run at it, but I'm going to get better, and I have a ton of ideas reeling around in my head about how I can get out there more and actually how I can integrate it more with my passion for classic cars. I've got a ton of really cool ideas coming up that I think you'll enjoy, so yeah, maybe hit that subscribe button. But while you're waiting for that, maybe go check out another creator that does this a little bit more full-time than me. I can suggest guys like Crazy Katie or Kenny of All Trades, or Kevin Wald is really cool too. He's actually got another truck box camper and a diesel unit just like me, and he travels all over Canada and has beautiful scenic views. Or the guy that gave me the confidence to bite the bullet and finally just get out there, Matthew Allen over at MATV, previously VanlifePLUS. He's a really cool dude. He actually lived in a cargo van full-time for almost 4 years, and right now he's building an off-grid converted camping unit out of a cargo trailer. So if that's the kind of content you want to see, maybe go check out his channel, give him a like, and maybe tell him I sent you so that it strokes my ego a little bit. Anyway guys, huge thank you again for watching this video, especially to those of you that watched it right through to the end
and actually gave it a like. I've got a long drive home, so I'm gonna hit the road, but I will see you guys in the next one.